Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we'll be doing the history of the Last Hope's development. We'll just talk about it. I just thought it'd be an interesting video topic that I was pretty passionate about writing a small script for, and maybe this will be interesting to you too. So let's begin. Honestly, like for the actually like, how Last Hope development started, like I should probably talk a little bit the past about how I got to the point. So I grew up role playing with my cousins and friends as a child, and I loved the idea of like being someone else. That's the big part of role play I liked about just being in this fantasy world. And it kind of first started with like fictional characters like Darth Vader, like Elmo, like any kind of character that's already established. It later evolved to me like loving like creating original characters, OCs of my own, and even worlds at one point. Around that time, maybe just a bit earlier, I was doing Plants vs. Zombies 2 stuff for YouTube as a child, and loved the idea of YouTube for a very long time, and always wished to become a full-fledged YouTuber. One day, I stumbled upon this stick figure animation software. One day, this one, as you can see right here, and I kind of toyed around with it. I was able to do some battles with it, and just for the fun of it, I started creating these like stick figure animations. As you can see here, I had a whole playlist of 8 episodes. However, the app, well, as you can see, this playlist it doesn't really have much rhyme or reason in terms of these actual animations, as I've not really put the storytelling that I really like doing, and then the animation part. I didn't really put those two together yet. And and the also the app itself I was using at the time was certainly lacking. I couldn't really do any sounds on its own. The animation was certainly slower. This is what it did, and uh, no text either. No good way to create assets, etc. So not even really a way to do story. I tried to make up for it a little bit with like editing software by episode 6 with like adding music and like goofy emojis, but it really didn't feel right. That was until like one day I actually stumbled upon stick notes. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't remember how I actually stumbled upon it. However, nonetheless, I did. And at the time, I started doing a test animation, which now an outdated, an outdated episode 1 of The Last Hope. As this was the first ever animation I ever actually did, and I actually went back and labeled the old animations as like discontinued for now of the War series. However, I never have and never don't really plan to return to it. I have no passion or care for it. Hey, there's the reference right now to the previous series. I kind of went all in for this new animation software. I like how there's more detail and actual kind of stuff I can do to make different character designs, especially later on in development of Last Hope, as you can see. And I pretty much bought the Pro Edition very quickly. I don't know if it was episode 1 or 2 by the time I did it, but it was very quick. Now, I didn't have this on autoplay. That would have made more sense. Oh, no. Oh wait, that's because this isn't autoplay. I'm stupid. So let me just put something in the background. All right, so moving on to the actual Last Hope's development. Um, Looking back at the animation, it was nowhere near as what I could do in the future. It was mostly a test, and it was a successful test, knowing that I wanted to do it and I liked the idea of it. it's it's not like it was like at the time when I was making this test, I had ideas about the whole lot of characters and bunch of story stuff or anything like that. Any ideas past the episode just itself. Even now, the Last Hope's development is still partially kind of in the moment kind of thing, with a bit of outline structure now. There's with outlines and stuff for episodes. Mostly in terms of the more sporadic storytelling of just it just happens to happen. Happens especially the ones before I disappeared, or I kind of disappeared for a few years. Anyway, so the lore and stuff for the earlier episodes may have caused minor issues later on, but I tried to make it work as best I could. And with each episode, I learned just a little bit more on how to improve the animations. And after around 6 of the like original episodes, not including like past episodes like the remade or Last Hope, but the actual timeline of uploading these animations, this playlist is just from the order of events. So there's that. But pretty much, I kind of this I made like pretty short episodes. I wouldn't even know if I'd call them episodes because originally like a lot of them were like what 1 minute 45 seconds. This 30-second one, a minute, 2 minutes. Like it was like very short. And I know even my some call my newer animations like The Awakened and episode 1 remade with 3 minutes. I also left for they're both at the same time 3 minutes 21 seconds. That was an accident. Which coincidence, am I right? And to be honest, I just think is a bit too short. And the reason the Awaken episode and remake episode 1 were made were short, like because I actually intend them to be longer episodes, but there's only so much I can redo with episode 1 from its structure. Awakened episode, I only had so much to tell for it. Like, what was it by episode interrogation 9, 10, and episode 7? Actually, episode 8's pretty short too. Now I'm looking at it, but I try to make a fewer like longer episodes. And episode 11, I'm gonna try and pertain to hopefully 5 minutes or more. Maybe do some more like storytelling and stuff. Anyway, so I kind of disappeared around after episode 6. Date here being 5 years ago, and then by the time I came back, and it was when I did episode 7. It was 6 months ago. The me being specific, that's because my old phone broke and I didn't have anything backed up. Even now, like I haven't dabbled way too much into backing up stuff and how that works. So I just need to send files or something. I'll probably look into it a little bit more in the future as well because there's a lot more stuff I would lose now these days. So it's very important. Guess I didn't learn from my mistakes. So honestly, when that happened, I lost all of my motivation to continue for years. Like the last animation episode 5 was from sorry, episode 6 was made from like May 5th of 2018 to February 21st of 2013 of this new episode. Almost 5 years difference. I finally became like motivated to do the series again. I think it was just because either my nephew was asking about it, or I think I saw like the live stream, which was when I worked on episode 7 before I lost everything. I came back 5 years. Last Hope series with an added bonus of like a bit of age wisdom, as being older helps, especially with the more practicing and storytelling. Had a little bit more time to refine that a little bit. Anyways, the story kind of goes on with a couple of like minor changes. I can't read apparently, with a couple of minor changes. Like for example, how like the mystery blue robot now isn't as like bloodthirsty. Like he wasn't trying to like kill as much because you see in episode 4 he was trying to kill him, but like later on by an episode like 6.5 he wanted them captured, and he even sits down to talk to Lily. So that's pretty interesting. That's because the change in direction between 5 years ago, and I didn't have anything written down document wise or paper or anything. Now I've actually written some stuff down. Well, at least a couple ideas here and there. Loose structure. Before I didn't have any of that, so that's a step up. So it's also other stuff like how Z1 kind of became a gag character after I came back. I thought it'd be really funny if this robot person had to eat everything. And also, I also gave one of the things that made Carl slightly more of an aggressive character were like like in the Awakened episode in the episode 1 remake, I wanted him to seem just a little more meaner. I don't know, just to give him like a differentiating character trait from Dan, who I want to have been like more logical and thinking of things. So anyway, so during later of episode building and coming back to it around during this episode I pretty much I wanted to expand on the world. Originally, one of the earlier episodes, maybe a couple of them mentioned. Actually, yeah, a couple of them mentioned that they believe Swarns believe that there was going to be humans were like barely around, if at all, and the humans are like dead. However, I realized that I think the story would make more sense if Carl and Dan didn't know that there were more people around because a war being only like oh wait, I shouldn't say how long the timeline was yet. I don't, but it wasn't that long. So for a war span, so I doubt every human would be killed. And Dan and Carl was just in one area, so how would they know? They were in an abandoned area, so and that actually makes it pretty good sense story wise. So glad the change happened. Goes back to the interrogation episode itself. This is the episode where I wanted to kind of expand on it a bit and using the interrogation as a way to both give like some character insight to Lily in terms of getting like motivation for the future and also just bringing up the Nightclaw group in general. This is the very first instance of them existing, is by her talking a tiny bit about them. Episode 10 they'll actually show up, and episode 11 will definitely expand a bit more on the Nightclaws as I've been developing on that. Anyway, so with this Nightclaw group, I actually had like almost nothing like created for the Nightclaw group. I understand that because I wanted to bring something kind of interesting. It'd be really cool to like expand on Lily's story that she came maybe looking for survivors or something, and that's when she found them. And it does make sense, even like the older episodes, because she didn't have a whole lot of time to explain that to them. There's always been the robots chasing them, so it works out well. I'm sure glad they did. And sorry, let me get back to this. So the group of Nightclaws, and then even episode 7 actually also made a reference to a settlement, so that also further like instates about people. And I didn't have the settlement very much developed at all, but obviously I needed to do that, or else I'm backed into a corner. They needed to go there, and it gave me the proper motivations, less discipline, or whatever term that would be, to like step up my game a little bit, and not just do like 2 or 3 characters, but like more characters, even maybe work on his character designs and not just use like the default ones and just to recolor a little bit. So that's what happened. But also I needed a bit of help. Like, well, sure, I learned some creative stuff. It would be really nice someone there for good emotional support, someone who can help make a couple characters someone who's also had dabbled into storytelling a little bit. And the perfect person was my girlfriend Carrie, someone who I didn't even have 5 years back in the older Last Hope animations. So maybe it was a good thing I didn't do that I had to break that long. Who knows? So she pretty much came in. I asked her, showed her a little bit about what the Last Hope was, and she agreed and helps me here and there, even with the dialogue of a couple characters. And the characters I'm talking about specifically is Claire and Justice, who are two of the Nightclaw members that exist. So between her and my nephew, of course, who really likes these videos, and that's a very emotional and caring for me as an uncle. So I do it for him as well. And that's kind of where we're at in terms of present stuff. So I'm currently working with Carrie on episode 11, and with dialogue and background stuff with a good amount of people I'm gonna have to credit. Golly. And of course I'm pretty excited to get it done and show y'all. In terms of like the future, I'll gonna keep continuing doing episodes here and there, and even though the next couple episodes or so is not gonna be combat oriented, combat will still be part of the series, and I'll try and get even better with the software in small ways if possible. Maybe getting better at creating my own objects, so rely less on people's. I know I've dabbled in creating some of my own objects. I mentioned in the episode 10 breakdown, and I did make crates at least for episode 11. And honestly, object creation is kind of fun. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Honestly, I've enjoyed talking about it, and see you in the next one. Peace.